Deegan had struggled throughout the season, and Joey Logano took her seat for the Xfinity Series event at the Chicago Street event. At that time, it just looked like she was put to the side for a race. At least that was what we were made to believe. However, this sidelined race resulted in Deegan splitting from the company and being without a drive for now. The firing of Hailie Deegan resulted in backlash from fans and experts, especially due to the fact that people thought she didn't have a NASCAR veteran guiding and helping her work her way up to a Cup Series drive. And now, NASCAR veteran and legend Dale Earnhardt Jr. addressed his displeasure with the Hailie Deegan issue after the Xfinity Series driver officially parted ways with AM Racing earlier this week. He also talked about her future and what's left to do for her if she wants to continue racing stock cars. Prior to the Chicago race, which she didn't race in, Deegan had not finished in the top 10 in 17 races and was 27th in the point standings. Deegan has also finished P20 or below in 8 straight races. Earnhardt Jr. feels Deegan's dilemma is the result of a greater problem in the NASCAR environment, as she seeks to revitalize her career elsewhere while the future is uncertain. For now, her focus remains on getting back in one of NASCAR's series, to continue her quest to a Cup Series seat. To do this, things will have to change for her and for NASCAR, according to Dale Jr. Hailie is a product of a very challenging system, Earnhardt Jr. theorized. This is the same for a lot of drivers that I've worked with, and a lot of drivers that I've seen, that work their way from, whether it be racing at Millbridge to late models, super late models, to truck and Xfinity opportunities that eventually come along. A lot of times, whatever the financial support is for a driver, it is very difficult. Wherever that financial support is coming from, whether it's a sponsor, whether it's family, whatever that support is, it's still a lot of money, a huge commitment. It's not forever. What happens is, and this is I believe somewhat similar for Hailie, is, in a perfect world, you would let Hailie or any of these other drivers run in that K&N series or run super late models or run trucks a few more years. What happens is, there's a bit of an urgency to try and move up and take the very next available opportunity at the next level because the support financially is not forever and you do not know when that finally dries up. For whatever reason, you lose that financial support. So every rung on the ladder that develops above you, whether it's the Truck Series or Xfinity Series, no matter how good or bad that rung is, you grab it. I think a lot of times, drivers then ultimately end up in bad situations that don't pan out for them. And this is one of those scenarios where I think that she felt like, man, I've really got to take this. This is being presented to me and I've got to take it. It's Xfinity. I think I'll fit those cars better. I think I'll do a better job in this series. She took it when it might not have been the opportunity she should have chosen. What other things she could have done, I do not know. Whether it had been staying in the Truck Series, but I see this with a lot of drivers that are trying their hardest to get to the very top, taking the next opportunity that presents itself at the next level, and trying to progress as quickly as possible, because you can't sit here and fund a late model program, or a super late model program, or a truck program, or a K&N program forever. They're like, well, we're spending all this money, let's go spend it here. And they just end up in bad situations. It's about timing. But it's frustrating to see it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. feels Hailie Deegan AM Racing was simply the wrong scenario. Evidently, Earnhardt Jr. feels Deegan was promoted to the Xfinity Series too quickly, without first honing her skills in the lower-tier series. Looking back, Earnhardt Jr. feels she would have been better served to take a different road during the previous 5 years and evolve. You know, if you could have predicted or chosen Hailie's path, you would have certainly sent her in a different direction, right? If you could have taken the last 5 years and done something differently with Hailie's career, you would have not put her on this path. You would have done it differently, the 2-time Daytona 500 winner said. I can say that for a lot of different drivers that I believe have the talent, but just ran into the wrong situation. Finally, the relationship between AM Racing and Deegan was simply not a good fit for either of them. Earnhardt Jr. hopes this isn't the end of Deegan's NASCAR career and that she may find a team that better fits her aspirations. But if this will happen, remains a big question. Hailie would probably be better off with a team that has some foundation underneath it. That's been a team that's had these types of drivers come in, that knows what they need. Sort of, I don't want to use the word coddle, but almost knows how to handle these inexperienced young drivers and how to protect them. I think it's best that they're going their separate ways, the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee outlined. I think AM should definitely try to tab some Josh Berry types that can sort of help them say, hey man, and they need to listen to these drivers. Hey, this is what's wrong with your program, this is where you're short, this is where your performance is lacking. They can build their program and maybe go back to hiring a full-time driver that might complement them. And maybe Hailie can find herself a situation. She doesn't need to upgrade so much in terms of race teams, but there are some great teams out there that might be in line with her funding and support, that have been around a while in the series, that do just this. They take on these sort of projects and develop them. We'll see what happens. I'd hate to see her just go elsewhere. I'd hate to see her give up on stock car racing altogether. Despite Hailie Deegan's lack of success in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Dale Earnhardt Jr. remains optimistic about her abilities. Time will tell where her next opportunity will be, but it would be a shame to see her fade after a poor 2024. What do you think? Is there a team willing to pick up Deegan and help her hone her skills in Xfinity, or perhaps even back in trucks? If so, which team could do it? Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports also explained what Deegan needs to accomplish next to return to one of NASCAR's national series. It might take someone with that same affinity for risk from a financial standpoint, to give Deegan a solid chance of being successful, Pockrass wrote. Deegan needs to go to a place where she knows she can race for a couple of years. She needs to go somewhere with a strong structure in place to set reasonable goals for her to improve. She needs to go somewhere with teammates that can help her, although she did have that with her truck teams and it didn't exactly lead to any great improvement. She might even need a program where she runs select races in a variety of series from late models to Xfinity to help improve her weaknesses. Pockrass further stated that 5 years ago, Deegan was celebrated as a potential superstar who could help transform the sport. He went on to say that she needs someone who feels she has what it takes to advance in her job. Finding a believer, from sponsor, from owner, from crew chief, will be key to whether she can make a career out of stock car racing, Pockrass said, just like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Deegan was scheduled to drive for AM Racing at the Chicago Street Race this past weekend, but she was replaced by two-time Cup Series champion Joey Logano. This week on Monday, AM Racing and Deegan officially announced their split. Beginning this season, I had a lot of excitement and hope in taking my next step in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It's something I've been working towards for years and always dreamt about. I worked hard to prepare for this season after the team pursued me to drive their car, Deegan wrote on X. Unfortunately, it has not turned out the way that I expected. There are always several reasons within a race team as to why things do or do not work, but sadly our goals no longer align. With that being said, myself and AM Racing will be parting ways. Last year, Deegan drove in the Truck Series and finished 19th in the standings, with 2 top 10 performances. Her most successful tenure was in the ARCA Menard Series West, where she won 3 races and finished in the top 10 23 times in 2018 and 2019. Deegan is the daughter of Brian Deegan, a racing legend with 16 X Games gold. Will we see her returning to stock car racing in the near future? And if so, will she be able to land a drive with enough support to help her climb up to the Cup Series? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.